What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for another Good Morning Tottenham. What's on the agenda today, Sim? What is on the agenda?
Yeah, so Julian Nagelsmann has officially joined Bayern Munich as manager this morning, which is a massive blow to Tottenham's search for a new manager, having sacked Jose Mourinho. What was it, a week ago? Was it a week ago today, even? Or what day are we? Tuesday. I think a week ago Monday, wasn't it?
Monday, yeah.
Yeah, a week ago Monday. So, big blow now, but now apparently Spurs are going to be turning their attention to Ten Haag from Ajax as a potential new manager, and hopefully we can get a new manager over the line sooner rather than later. Apparently Spurs don't want to be spending all day or like a long time searching for a new manager. They want to get this under wraps, ready for the new season. So we'll have to wait and see how it comes about, because I think there are talks of Rodgers. I don't think that's going to happen. That's very unlikely. I can't see him.
Although Rodgers does have the history of jumping ship.
Yeah, but I think he's been at Leicester for maybe just under 3 years, and I think leading them into their first season of the Champions League, which looks likely now after their win yesterday. I don't think he's going to jump ship just after he's just got them into the Champions League. It doesn't make much sense to me. So I can't see that happening, in my opinion. I know he has a history of jumping ship, but he has he ever jumped ship for a team lower down in the table than where he is?
No. But I think, Tottenham are a bigger club than Leicester, but the state of the clubs right now, Leicester are definitely acting more like a bigger club.
We're bigger because we have a bigger fan base, blah, blah, blah. But like in the past 2 years, like Leicester are definitely on an upward trajectory and we're not. So why would Leicester won the league and they got they nearly got Champions League last season without falling off the final hurdle. They're going to get Champions League this season.
No, what I was about to say is Tottenham are a bigger club, but Leicester are acting more like a bigger club and we're not performing more like a bigger club.
Yeah, so we might be bigger than Leicester, but we're not that much bigger than Leicester. That in my opinion,
we should be.
No, we're not. But
we should be.
But we're not. And I don't think we are, and I don't think we're that much bigger that it would force Rodgers to think, oh, I'm so much better at Tottenham because they're that much bigger. Like, we're bigger, but we're not that much bigger than Leicester.
Well, it depends how you gauge it, but let's look at the managers that are kind of linked at the moment in terms of the odds with the bookies, and let's look at the top 5 for now. The 5th is Scotty Parker, ranging between 10 and 14 to 1. Then it goes to Nuno, ranging between 7 and 14 to 1. Then Brendan, around 8-ish to 1. And then Maurizio Sarri, about 3 or 5 to 1. And then the favorite now is Ten Hag at 2 or 3 to 1.
2 or 3 to 1.
Yeah, so Ten Hag has been the front runner this morning. Maurizio Sarri was the front runner for the last couple of days, but it looks like he's going to Roma now.
If we did sack Mourinho, look, there's a lot of conflicting reports why we did sack Mourinho. Some saying to avoid a compensation for if we had to win a cup final. Some are saying it was to steal a march from Bayern Munich to get Nagelsmann. Some are just saying it's because we just need to get him out as soon as possible. Different reasons. But if we did sack Mourinho to try and steal a march from Munich to get Nagelsmann, what does that make of that decision? We're not getting him,
it makes us a laughing stock even more. But like, in terms of stealing a march on Bayern Munich, in what world does Daniel Levy think we can get someone in front of Bayern Munich?
Maybe he's thinking, was Hansi Flick already announced by the time we So maybe he's thinking if Bayern are kind of considering their options, and then we steal in on Nagelsmann quickly before Bayern finalise on a definite target, then
it's
maybe
a rash decision to make, isn't it?
If all of this is true, then of course it's a rash decision. I don't know. It doesn't sound right that we would sack Mourinho.
I don't think it's anything to do with Nagelsmann why we sack Mourinho.
It doesn't sound right. But if it is, we are an absolute laughing stock.
We're a laughing stock anyway, if it's true or if it's not true. But I genuinely believe the reason why he sacked him is because to save a few quid, because apparently what Jamie Redknapp was saying, basically, that's my belief.
Yeah, and for the cup final as well, we maybe had a higher payout if we would have won the cup final.
Yeah,
I believe that's true.
And if that's true, again, absolute disgrace. Lining there, kind of saving themselves a few quid, in case of, and in detrimental to our glory. We could have won a bloody trophy, and we've given ourselves not the best opportunity to do that. And that's another reason why we're ENIC out. But again, do we care who this manager is? Because does it matter what under this ownership?
And look, it's going to have to be a manager who has a track record of bringing through young players and improving players already at the club. And that's the reality, because we're not going to have much money to spend, especially now looking less and less likely by the week that we're going to be in Champions League football next season. Very unlikely, considering how many teams there are in between us and top four at the moment. So we need a manager who can come in and doesn't need a lot of money like Jose Mourinho, and someone who can improve the current playing staff and can work under this leadership. Because you can pretty much go to every
leadership right now.
The thing is, the perfect man. We had the perfect man in Poch. He was the perfect man to work under the leadership that we had. And unfortunately, he kind of did too well, Pochettino. He grew the club and the team to such a level that we needed to seriously sustain his performance. We needed serious investment, and otherwise we were just going to fall by the wayside. And that's what happened in a way with Pochettino. And at the moment, I'm not really sure who the best man for the job is at the moment to bring in, because it's weird, because I can't get excited about a new manager while this board is still in place. It's hard to, because I don't know, like, the future just seems bleak, whoever it is.
Yeah, I mean, they need to strike gold again, like they did with Pochettino, because when Pochettino was coming into Spurs, I mean, he wasn't exactly the whole fan base's choice, was he?
No.
I can't remember who I wanted at the time, but it
was pretty much between him and De Boer, I believe, and what's his name, Van Gaal.
Van Gaal. I think I was in the Van Gaal camp at the time, but I can't actually remember at the top of my head. But Pochettino was a risk at the time. It was a big risk, and obviously he hadn't had a big job yet. He had been at Espanyol and Southampton. Obviously did a very good job at Southampton, but the jury was still out by most of the fan base. And even after the first year, the jury was still out with Pochettino. So a manager needs to come in. They need to imprint their own philosophy, imprint their own ideas. And if we going to get any success with our new manager, we need to strike gold. That's what we need to do.
Super chat here from Misso. Big up Misso says Haag is a good fit for Spurs. Experience, good career progression for him. Good career progression for him into the Premiership. Links to you young players from Ajax Academy. Good. I think Ten Hag would be a decent choice. I don't know. Something tells me that look, I'm not saying he's a bad manager. I'm sure he's done. Look, I know he's done great with Ajax. He's done fantastic. Getting them to the semi-finals, playing the football they played was very, very impressive. And if he has a track record of bringing young players and bringing in and playing the football that he can, and he's proven that, then look, I'm not going to say I don't want him, but like in a way, I'd rather want someone like Graham Potter. I'll tell you why, because he has a lot less to deal with at Brighton, a lot less, and he can get Brighton playing the football that they can play with a lot less tools. And I feel like, and he's proven that he can get them playing that kind of football in the Premier League. And I think for me that what he's shown at Brighton is he can do a lot with a little. And so if we give him a lot more quality players and play the football that Brighton play, I actually think we'll be a lot more. Will be quite successful, I feel. And I like the way he plays football. I like the way he sets up his teams. He's flexible as well. He changes to a back three or a back four sometimes, and he's tactically flexible. And he, a lot of the times, even against better teams than him, he's outplaying them. And it's just the quality of players a lot of the time that have let him down in terms of why they're so low down the table. But I actually think he's done really well at Brighton. And I know that's also a risk, but I feel like if he can get us playing good football like Brighton do, then maybe he could be a good fit for us.
Nick Bolt says, bring back Martin Jol.
Yeah, Martin Jol. What's he up to nowadays, Martin
He's
Jol?
on the board at ADO Den Haag. I mean, he's technical director or something like that.
ADO Den Haag. Den Haag, all these Haag. Yeah. So I think I wouldn't be saying I don't want Ten Hag, but I think Potter's a strong candidate for me. And I think he's realistic as well.
Is he the number one you would want from the Premier League? Obviously, apart from the obvious, like the ones that we won't get. Rodgers aside.
Rodgers aside, look, I'd want Rodgers, but I think it's completely not going to happen. So yeah, I think he would be the one. He would be the one. I would rather him than Eddie Howe. I know Eddie Howe did a good job at Bournemouth and leading them all the way from League One to the Premier League and keeping that position for a few years as well. So that was also very good management from him. But I think at the moment, I just like the way Graham Potter is setting up Brighton. I think he would be my one choice. I think.
Anyone else in the Premier League you'd like to consider?
I would consider Nuno. I would consider Nuno. I think he's done a good job at Wolves.
What makes you say you would want Potter ahead of Nuno?
I think the football Brighton play on a consistent basis, and the way that they compete against teams is better for me from the Wolves. And I think Wolves have a higher quality playing staff, and I think and I think Wolves are harder to beat. I think Nuno has got them set up in a way with the three at the back formation where they're a lot more harder. They're a lot harder to break down, and they're harder to play against. But on the flip side, I don't think they play that good football, Wolves. I don't think they. I think they've got better players like Neves, Moutinho, Adama Traore. I know Jimenez up until his injury, like some really good talent there. But I don't think Nuno's got them playing as good a football as he did maybe a couple of years ago, and he hasn't been able to sustain that.
I would say like last season, the season before, they played good football and they were like an attractive side. I think this season is the only year that they haven't done that. Would you not agree with that?
No, I think they've been more of a solid defensive team than like more
solid defensive, like, great on the counter.
Yeah, they're very good, like getting their full wing backs really hard the pitch, making them extra attackers and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, Matt Doherty's there; he knows Matt Doherty well. I just think Graham Potter might be better for our evolution in terms of getting the players that we have on the pitch to be able to break teams down and dominate possession and things like that. I think Potter might be better suited to that than Nuno. I think Nuno will require a bit more steel, which I don't know if we have at the moment with the players we have.
Let's just get through a few of these super chats. Eremenko says, Harry Redknapp in, get Cranshaw, Crouchy and Defoe back as well.
Yeah, why not?
Bring the band back together. Bring the band back together. We got Brandon Sebastian said team rebuild, $300 million. You guys thinking? I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean.
He said you're giving us 300 million. Who would you spend it on? Look, it's pointless. We're not going to have 300 million.
It's a fun game to play. Fun game to play. Who would you take? 300 million. That's a lot of money.
I would definitely sign 2 centre backs and a right back
and a goalkeeper
and a goalkeeper. I'd hold off on a goalkeeper for now.
What, with 300 million to spend?
We might as well sign everyone then. Might as well sign a whole new team.
Yeah, we should, because our toilet is shit.
And probably so I think 2 centre backs, right back, probably a right winger, and maybe another centre mid. I don't know.
I would go for
maybe a goalkeeper. Actually, I think Lloris was great on Sunday. He played so well.
I'd go for a Skriniar for 70 million. Right back is an interesting one because I don't know any good right backs around. Like, who's a good right back that would come to us?
Yeah, I know we were struggling last year to think of good right backs in terms of like who are the best right backs.
Is Max Aaron's the one? I don't know.
I don't know if he's the one who I'd want as my number one. But I think he's definitely more likely to come now Mourinho's gone because Mourinho prefers their right backs to be quite physically imposing.
Yeah, like Matt Doherty.
Exactly. And Max Aaron's is a bit short apparently for him, so that's why he kind of voted against it. But right back, who would I want to right back? I don't know. I can't think of many. I have to look into who's doing well at the moment. A right back.
It's hard with the right back situation because I can't think of any like top right backs that are actually gettable at the moment. Hakimi maybe from Inter, is he gettable?
I don't think he's gettable, especially if they win Serie A. I don't think he's gettable. Why would he come to us when he's
maybe he wants to play in the Premier League? I don't know.
What else is there? There's another super chat here from Gary Paul Speed. 20 years of nothing, enough. Nothing, enough. ENIC out. We'll win nothing with this board in charge. History proves this last 20 years. Levy and ENIC are now holding the team development and push on for trophy back. Yep, completely agree. I think at the moment ENIC are definitely holding us back, and it's Lamptey. That's a good shout. People saying Lamptey. I like
I'll take
Lamptey.
Lamptey.
I'll take Lamptey. Also Dumfries. Yeah, I'll take him as well. Emerson from Bath. Haven't seen much of him. Diego Dalot. I don't know about him. Tavernier from Rangers. That's a good shout.
Yeah,
That's
could be a good one. Yeah.
That's a good shout. Thomas Ricardo. I don't know if Ricardo. He had such a proper big injury problems. I don't know if it would work. Atal, Yusuf Atal. He's also another one.
I'm not sure about Atal. I haven't seen much of him.
So definitely some good options we can get at right back.
Mukiele
from Leipzig. He might go to Bayern now.
Yeah, that's true. But look, there are definitely options out there. Then we just need to find the right one. But look, at the end of the day, it's all irrelevant because nothing's going to happen until this board go, is it?
Yeah, it's going to be tough for anyone. We can overachieve for only so long, and then the board will always find a way to screw things up.
It's also important to not get blinded by the work that they're going to be doing over this summer. Because if they do give us a good transfer window, hire us a good manager and what have you, we still can't forget what they have done. We still need to keep going with this ENIC out stuff because we know at some point it's all going to fall flat on our faces.
Yeah, just like he did with Poch. They had such a good thing going with Pochettino. Like, he has no idea what a good thing he had going with Pochettino. And only Levy could have screwed that up. Only bloody Levy or ENIC could have screwed up that situation. It was perfect. Poch was happy with the squad. He was happy with being manager of Spurs. He'd built up Tottenham so much. He had done so much for us over a short period of time, and we couldn't sustain it. We had to let it
was so
fester.
easy to sustain as well.
I know, exactly.
It was so easy. All we needed
Just
we need to do is listen to the great man that was in charge of the football. You know what I mean? Just stupid parasites that ruin everything in our club every time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every single manager always walks away from this club saying the same thing. Every single one. And you got to think to yourself why. And if you're not ENIC out right now, I don't know what you're doing, because we all need to pull in the same direction. We need to get change at the top. It's the only way we're going to get back to where we belong and where we can sustain ourselves up there as well.
All right, we've got a super chat here from Tinman 007. He says, not sure if you know this stat for Harry Winks in 5 years, 2 assists and 2 goals. This is an incredible stat for a centre midfield player.
Don't worry, we know that stat.
Yeah, I've been told it a million times. That bloody stat.
Everyone comes on and tells Simeon every time. But look, there are a lot of players in this squad that are not good enough, that need to go. And he is one of them, in my opinion.
I sent a list. What was it? A list of players. We all know the culprits who aren't good enough for this football club at the moment. And there's a lot of them. There's too many of them in this squad who have been in the club for a very long time. You got Aurier, Sissoko, Winks, Dyer, Doherty, Davis, and Sanchez. That's a big chunk of the squad, which definitely needs upgrading, and that we rely way too heavily on. And obviously, we can't get rid of all of them in one summer, but a lot of them have been at Tottenham for a long, long time, and they unfortunately they've proven to be not good enough. They've proven to be not good enough for what we want to achieve, and we've needed a refresh for a very long time. But
the majority of them are just not fit for purpose anymore. They're not.
Yeah, and that's what it keeps costing. Basically they're not of the required standard of what we need to progress in this football club, and they keep stagnating. They keep in the levels of the squad low, and when we have too many of them in the starting 11, it definitely proves costly a lot of the time. Could a manager like Ten Hag or whatever improve these players? I'm sure he might be able to improve them to an extent, but he wouldn't be able to get them to a level where we could compete for a title.
Whatever manager comes in right now has the same task as what Pochettino had in 2014 or whatever year he came in.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, well, that's what we are. We've reverted back to 2014 pretty much, 2013.
Do you reckon there's a question of who we want and who we're actually going to get? Because you want Potter. You think Potter's actually a realistic target, isn't he? So we can actually get him. But what's your gut telling you that Levy's going to do?
I don't know.
Parker.
I don't think he'll go for Parker. I don't know. I think he'll get. I don't know. I think it'd be silly to go for Parker, in my opinion.
I mean, he's done a lot of silly things.
I know, but I don't think he'll look at Parker.
I mean, he did sack Jose Mourinho 6 days before a cup final and installed Ryan Mason.
I know.
And getting Parker will probably be less silly than that.
That's true. But I don't think he's going to entrust a long contract to Scott Parker. I just don't think he would. I don't think he would.
Never put anything past this man. He entrusted Ryan Mason for a cup final.
Yeah, that's to save money.
Yeah,
maybe, and
getting Scott Parker's will be saving money as well.
It'll be a cheap choice, but I don't think he would. I just don't think he would. From the past, from his past actions in terms of how he selected his manager, he's never really gone for someone like Scott Parker, and I don't see him going for someone like Scott Parker this summer, unless money wise, we are in big trouble, which is being suggested. A lot of Premier League clubs are, and he does think that we have to go for a cheap option. Then maybe, but I don't know. Is Scott Parker going to be any cheaper than Potter? I'm not so sure. Well, Potter's on a long contract. He's on a long contract.
Is he?
Yeah, because he signed like a 5-year deal, like 6 months into his time at Brighton.
Right.
So maybe.
When did he join Brighton? Last year.
2
years ago.
2019.
And Parker joined Fulham 2 years ago. 1 year in the Championship in this year.
At the end of the 18-19 season, he joined them.
So they joined us about similar time.
Yeah.
We got a super chat here from Tinman007. Guys, when is the next protest? Hearing a big one will be on the 15th of May, last home game, or will there be one versus Sheffield United? From what I'm hearing, there's nothing until the 15th. I think that this one on the 15th of May, last home game of the season, is gathering pace. Obviously, I think they're going to have fans in that game, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I think that we need to get as many fans as we can down there. We need to make it as big as all the other protests that you've seen around the Premier League. Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea. We need to make it big. We need to make a statement. We need to show them where the majority of the fans' opinions are. We need to get these cretins out of our club.
Well, apparently, the Tottenham Hotspur, the Supporters Trust, made a new statement today saying, "We know there is growing support. We know there is growing supporter anger with the club, with the current club board and owners. We understand that we need to focus that anger. We understand the calls for ENIC out, but simply calling for the board and owners to resign or sell without influencing what comes next achieves very little in the long term. The Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust has said for many years that the law must be changed to give fans more power in our club and how our clubs are run. Now the UK government has launched a review to do just that. We are working closely with them to develop a model that will deliver this across the game, and we are drawing up practical measures that can be implemented at our club. Our offer to the current owners of THFC is to work together on this remains open." There was a small protest against, so this is part of the article. Final home game of the season when 10,000. So yeah, the Supporters Trust said that the final home game of the season against Aston Villa, where 10,000 fans are expected to return to the stadium, gives us an opportunity to make our feelings clear. So the Supporters Trust are saying protest on the 15th. Yeah. I think people are trying to organise one for this Saturday. I have seen that.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
I haven't seen much.
I have seen people trying to organise for this Saturday, but I don't know if it's going ahead or not.
I'll probably be just one of those ones like it was the other against Southampton, where not many people will show up. I mean, it was a bit embarrassing, that one, but I think that we need, if this big one's going to happen on the 15th, let's all pull together. Let's make it happen. Let's come down in our numbers and let's get our voices heard. And if anyone watching in the comments is around on the 15th of May, do come down to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We'll be there. Grandpa wants to be there. And we need to make our voices heard, like
Grandpa
I keep saying.
Me up last night, saying, "I want to come to a protest. I want to protest."
See, when Grandpa wants ENIC out, you know it's real. Ratio DMB with a super chat saying, "We always have Levy in control of team selections." Okay.
And Brandon Sebastian says, "Who would you like to see purchase Tottenham?"
Jeff Bezos would be nice.
Jeff Bezos.
But I think whatever happens, whoever purchases Tottenham, there needs to be fan representation. That's the key. Would you take fan representation and ENIC stay there?
if it meant fans had more of knowledge of what's going on in their football club and then consulted more, then I guess it's better than having someone new and Spurs fans still continually shut out, isn't it? So yeah, I would say yeah.
I kind of agree. I think that number one would be new ownership and fan representation. If that can't happen, because it's very hard to find a buyer that's going to put in billions of pounds, you know what I mean? So my second option would be ENIC to stay plus fan representation. So the fan representation bit is the most important thing out of the lot.
Definitely. That's the most important thing. I think the thing that's most disgusting about the Super League is how they tried to do it behind the fan backs and just announce it and think they could ride out all the criticism and just push through with it. And luckily for us, Chelsea and Man City were the first to cave, and we obviously followed. Oh, didn't I say that? Like on the day, I was like, no chance in hell Tottenham are pulling out the Super League. The only chance we have is if someone else pulls out first, and then maybe we'll follow.
It was played out the exact same way as the furlough thing. Exactly the same way. As soon as Liverpool pulled out, that was it. Tottenham pulled out.
Yeah, but the fact that the supporters trust brought it up with them numerous times about a potential breakaway or anything like that, and they need to be consulted. And Spurs said back, well, we're not going to discuss hypotheticals, so we're no point discussing it and all this kind of stuff. But all this time they're going behind all our backs, planning the Super League and getting involved. And the fans weren't consulted one iota on what was happening to their football club. Season ticket holders had absolutely no knowledge that Spurs were breaking away into the Super League and changing the whole football pyramid. And now we're in a situation where we're in a situation where it wasn't in the best interest in the football club joining the Super League at all. We're now going to be potentially under sanctions of UEFA because of it. Like, they were not thinking of the long-term interest of Tottenham. They're only thinking of the short-term, getting money in quick, and that's it. That's all they had their eyes on the money. And I think doing it behind the fans' backs was one of the biggest betrayals of the board. So I think that has to be the first thing addressed, that you can't just do such drastic decisions without consulting the people who are the lifeblood of the club.
The people who it will affect the most as well,
exactly.
In terms of the absolute livelihood, in terms of community going week in, week out. It's absolutely insane what they try to do. And we should never ever should we forget what they have tried to do to us. But there's a few rumors going around for Southgate. I mean, what a bad appointment would that be?
Southgate, you're the one.
Southgate, you're not the one.
No, I don't want Southgate.
I don't even want Southgate as England manager. Never mind Tottenham manager.
Look, he did well over the World Cup. He got to the semi-finals. I know people say, "Oh, he had an easy run," blah blah blah. Look, I think he did a good job to galvanise the country, to galvanise the team, and get everyone playing together. I'm not saying we played unbelievable football or anything, but I think I do think he did a good job uniting everyone. But I think since then he's kind of been found out a bit tactically. I think in terms of how he sets up the team and stuff. Like, I'm not too impressed with how he's setting up the England team at the moment. I think he's got all these really amazing attacking players, and he's not getting a system that can get the best out of them. He's too focused on sometimes he tries to get 5 defenders and 2 CDMs in a team where are with the most top-heavy squad probably in the world.
Jose, is that you?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's Southgate.
So I think I think Southgate. I don't know.
He's never done anything in club football. The best he's done is get relegated with Middlesbrough.
Exactly. He didn't do a good job with Middlesbrough, so I don't see how having Southgate would improve this team. I wouldn't want him in charge.
What about? I've seen a few rumors about Daniel Farke as well.
Or from Norwich.
Yeah.
I think he's quite a good manager, but he needs to show he can stay up in the Premier League first before he joins us. I think.
Pretty championship squad though he went down with.
Yeah,
for Norwich.
I think he did. They played quite good football. I would say that. But
done a good job as Skippy this year.
I just prefer Potter. I think Potter's a better manager at the moment.
What about Joachim Löw?
What, the former Germany manager?
Yeah,
did a great job with Germany, didn't he?
He's Germany manager in the Euros this summer, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He is. This will be his last job.
He's got a few dirty habits, but as a football manager,
I wouldn't want to smell his hand.
Sure. If you ever meet him, just don't shake his hand.
No shaking hands with
just playing COVID. Just nod your head and be like, "Ah, nice to meet you, Joachim."
I guess he's been in international football for so long. Who knows how he'll react to being in club day-to-day club management? It'll be a bit of a risk, but I think he's someone to consider. I think he's done a great job with Germany overall. I just think he's been there for so long. Who knows if he's suited to club management?
What has he done in club level?
I don't know, because I don't think he was a club manager before Germany. I think he took over as assistant. He was assistant manager, and then he took over. So I don't think he's.
Have a look what he's done. Managerial stats. Wow, he's done nothing. His last club was in 2003.
Yeah.
Austria Vienna. I mean, he hasn't had any top club, literally. In 96, he was manager of Stuttgart. Then he went to Fenerbahce. And then the rest are just like smaller Austrian teams and stuff like that. So,
and then he was assistant in Germany and then got taken over and then took over as the full-time role. So, I don't know. I don't think he'd be the best fit right now.
He hasn't won anything in club football since he won the Austrian Super Cup in 2003.
And he's used to like having, the German national team, serious quality players. He hasn't had to like improve them or like in a sense.
Yeah.
He's had to just work with top class players, and he'll be just a different role at Tottenham, very different role. So I don't think he's the one we should be going for.
But look, let me know in the comment section below, who do you think will be our manager? Who do you think Daniel Levy would go with? Because it could be two very different options. Let me know in the comment section who you think we're going to go for. Send in your super chats or your tweets if you want us to react to anything. But look, it's a really interesting one. Well, yeah, what about this guy, Ralf Rangnick? Because there's been a lot flying about with him the last couple of days. Spurs Twitter seems to be talking about him a lot.
Yeah, he's a coach who apparently is one of the people one of the visionaries behind the gang pressing that a lot of the German clubs use. He was like one of the first coaches to bring it in, and he has a lot of disciples apparently in and around German football. And a lot of the young German coaches you see today, like Tuchel, like Hasenhüttl.
So are you saying he's the German version of Bielsa?
Huh? Yeah, basically he's a German Bielsa in a way, and he's one that. Similar to Bielsa that in management himself, he hasn't been like the best in the world, although he's had a decent career as a manager, but he hasn't been like the best of the best. But he's created a lot of managers who have gone on to do big and very big things. And a lot of the managers you see today in a lot of the big managers in football were coached by him and started their careers under him. So he's also done decent. He was part of Leipzig, the Leipzig not resurgence. When they came, when Leipzig got big, and he got them promoted to the Bundesliga and then got them into the Champions League as well. So he did well in that. He wasn't one of the ones who like challenged for the title, but he put
them back on the map.
Exactly. Well, they're
not back on the map. He put them on the map.
Exactly. So he's one definitely to consider. Apparently, he was offered the job at Chelsea interim, but he turned it down because he doesn't want to be interim manager anywhere. He wants if he wants to be in a job, he wants to be there for the long term. So apparently that's why he kind of turned that down, which is interesting.
We've got a super chat here from Skippy FC saying, great work with Matty and David, all my best. I mean, look, cup final aside and the game aside, what a great day was it on Sunday?
Yeah, I had a great time.
Meeting all the guys that come on the channel, all coming down for the day. The drinks were flying. I mean, it was such a great time, as it always is on cup final day, apart from the actual game.
Yeah, the football ruined the day.
Every time. It was exactly the same in Madrid.
Why do we ever get excited?
It was exactly the same in Madrid, and it was exactly the same on Sunday. Last 4 cup finals now, not scoring, not even one goal they give us to celebrate, not even one.
Yeah, and that's the sad situation with Tottenham at the moment. We barely had a chance to celebrate, let alone a goal.
What do you mean? Lo Celso had a shot
from outside the box. We had 2 shots from outside the box, pretty much the whole time, and that's exactly what we had to celebrate. One save from the keeper.
But it was great meeting up with everyone, getting everyone down, putting on events, and watch this space because we could be putting on some more, especially with the Euros coming up this summer. But what about managers like Gus Hiddink, Rafa Benitez, people like that?
Rafa Benitez, I think would be like if you thought Mourinho is pragmatic. It's the same with Rafa. So I don't know why people would be more accepting under this manager than Mourinho. If you're not happy with the Mourinho style of play, then you don't bring in someone like Rafa Benitez. That doesn't make sense to me. Gus Hiddink's when was the last, like, he's another manager who mostly is at international football, and obviously he's had stints as interim at Chelsea where he did fairly well, but he's mostly during international. He's usually he mostly, that's what he's kind of his forte.
What was his last job?
He was in Russia at 2018, wasn't
Right.
he? He was manager there.
His last club job?
He was just Chelsea interim, I believe. Interim at Chelsea, right?
That's right. I'm looking at it right now. He was actually the Chinese under-21, under-23 manager in 18-19. Before that, he was at Chelsea. No, he was. It says here he was Russia manager 2006, 2010.
So who was in 2018? Was it not him in 2018?
No, in 2018 he was a manager of China under-21, under-23s. Apparently.
Okay, I was thinking. Okay.
Gus Hiddink hasn't had a proper job for a while now. For a while. What about the Lille manager, Christophe Galtier?
He's done a decent job. I don't know.
Very good. Top of the league.
Yeah, I don't know about his part. Like, I don't know about his career, to be honest.
But he's doing a brilliant job out in France. Could be winning the league this season ahead of Pochettino's PSG.
Who was manager of Monaco won the league? That was, what's his name? Jardim.
Jardim, yeah, that was it.
Yeah, is he still manager there? Because he left and then joined.
Yeah, I think he came back this year.
He did come back. No, not this year. He came back a while ago.
Jardim. Let's have a look. No, he's not Monaco manager at the moment. Where is he? He left in 2019. He was manager there from 2014 2018, and then he joined from January and left in December 2019. So he was there for a year.
There you go. So where is he available now?
Apparently so. He doesn't have a club, it's saying.
Well, no one's considered him. No one really talks about Jardim anymore. So I wonder what's going on with him.
They hired Thierry Henry to replace him.
Yeah, that was pathetic. That was pathetic. I can't believe they did that. I want a list of managers right now in the game who worked previously under Rangnick. You got Wagner from who was Huddersfield and Schalke now. You got Nagelsmann, who was under him at Hoffenheim. You've got
so when you say under him at Hoffenheim, was he technical director or something like that?
He was involved in the club. He was one of the coaches. He had different roles at all these clubs. Director of football, technical director or manager, a lot of them as well. And he was definitely very influential in all of these people's careers. So you have Nagelsmann, you have Hasenhüttl, you have Jesse Marsch, who's going to be the new manager of Leipzig, apparently. You had Paul Mitchell, who was with him at Leipzig as well, who was a scout, who was one of his scouts. You got Marco Rose, who's now manager of Mönchengladbach.
He's going to Bayern, to Borussia Dortmund next year.
Yeah,
Marco Rose.
Roger Schmidt, who's I think Leverkusen manager, I believe.
Yeah.
You've got obviously you've got Per Mertesacker, who's currently at I think Hanover or Bremen. You've got Thomas Tuchel at the moment as well, and Lars Kornecker as well. So there's a lot of at the moment. Then Oscar Garcia, who's currently head coach at Celta Vigo. Roger Schmidt is head coach of PSV at the moment, actually. And then you got Oliver Glasner, who's head coach of Wolfsburg. Like, so many people have basically come from him, Rangnick, who learned from him. So, but he's one of these people who's visionary himself, and he likes the long-term visions at a club. So if he wants to be a club, he kind of needs a long period of time.
I would like him to come to the club, but I would like to see a manager come in underneath him.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I want him as manager. I would like to get him involved. He's apparently amazing at like talent spotting and stuff. A lot of the players at Leipzig
maybe Rangnick and Ten Hag.
Yeah, Rangnick and Ten Hag. That sounds like a decent choice.
Let's go to these super chats. A shot of Tim says, Enoch out. It's time to go. Everything wrong with the club comes from them. Come on, you Spurs. 100% agree with that. Ryland says, I don't know very much about Ten Hag other than he is good with youth and he nearly beat us in the Champions League a couple of years ago. Do you guys know anything? Well, I know he's got a 75% win ratio at Ajax. He's on like a 34-35 game unbeaten run at the moment. Obviously got to the Champions League semi-final and we beat them. I mean, he's done a brilliant job there, but there have been other managers that have done brilliant jobs at Ajax before and gone on to not do very well in other leagues. So, yeah, Frank de Boer is the main one, isn't
Frank
it?
de Boer was in contention when we appointed Pochettino.
Yeah,
and a lot of fans wanted de Boer at the time.
I think I wanted him at the time, but the thing is, can you say just because de Boer did bad, Ten Hag's going to be bad? No,
but it's something to compare to.
Yeah,
I think look, Ten Hag. The difference between de Boer and Ten Hag is what he did in the Champions League, and obviously he did unbelievable. And the football they played was unreal, and the players he brought through in Frank de Jong, De Ligt. You had players like Ziyech and Neres and Tadic. He had playing unbelievable football who didn't actually put up any trees at Southampton before he joined Ajax. So he definitely found a way of playing, which was
brought Huntelaar back as well.
Well, yeah, and he did great. He did a great job. But whether it's him being in the Ajax bubble in a way where everyone's geared to playing great football, everyone from the youth, they've always consistently brought through like very high quality youth players, and they always have a way of playing football. Whether he comes into a new environment like Tottenham and it's something that works for him, or whether it'll just be too difficult to handle, it's a bit of a risk in that sense.
If we do bring him in, though, happy days for players like Dane Scarlett and people coming through the academy who have a bright future ahead.
Potentially. It depends if he's there for the long term, isn't it? Because he need, unfortunately, the way things are at Tottenham, you need to be getting results. Otherwise, one bad run, as Pochettino showed, you could be out. So
yeah,
it's difficult to know where we are, because under Pochettino, we allowed him like a year where it wasn't the best, and he finished 5th, and he showed promise, and then we kicked on from there. But whether we're at a stage now where we need to be getting the Champions League immediately, or he's out or not, I'm not really sure. I think because we got a taste of consistent Champions League football, I think it's almost like a case where if it ever looks like we're not going to make it, like Levy's not interested anymore. That's what it seems like, as opposed to before he would allow a bit of a project, a bit of time for managers to kind of put a stamp their philosophy on the team, and then once he saw success, that's when it was he allowed it to flourish. But are we now a team that needs to win now because of the projects we have, or are we a team that's still looking for another project?
I think we have to be a team looking for a project now, because our squad is not good enough for a winning now. It's just not. I mean, the whole club is rotten top to bottom, and we need changes in every department, and that shouts of a project. I mean, I think Jose Mourinho, in terms of Jose, I think he was just brought in at the wrong time. At the wrong time, everyone thought that the squad was in a lot better shape than it was, and we needed a whole rebuild 3 or 4 years ago under Poch, never mind under Jose Mourinho, and I think everyone kind of underestimated that, didn't they?
I think they brought in Jose to avoid the rebuild, basically. That was the plan, and unfortunately, it didn't.
But you can't avoid a rebuild. Unfortunately, you just can't.
It has to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the big failings of the board as well. They didn't notice that. I didn't recognize that this squad needed major surgery. And Pochettino has been, that clip of him and Gary Lineker has been circulated again, and it just hurt so much watching it, because he knew exactly what needed doing, and instead of listening to him, we sacked him.
Yeah, and that's the facts of the matter. Daniel Levy done us in once again. Alex Samuel says rebuilds happened all the time under Sir Alex at Man United.
Exactly, every 3-4 years a rebuild would happen, and that's exactly what's required. Exactly what's required right now.
Sir Alex knew it spot on. Sir Alex said that you can never stand still. He always bought a marquee signing every single summer.
And also, when even if big players. Even big players, he wasn't afraid to sell them. He was not afraid to sell them if the time was right. He sold Jaap Stam, didn't he? When even though he was a big player for them, he felt the time was right moving on. Even though he was still
look at Becks.
Beckham, exactly.
I know he got in a fight with him, but still,
even though Beckham was a great player for him, it's not like he was bad. But it was just time to move him on. He wasn't fully committed. He wasn't that interested. So he said, "Look, even though you're a great player and you're one of the best right wingers in the league, I'm going to move you on." Van Nistelrooy, he moved him on. when time was right. Even though I think he was their top goal scorer at the time of moving him on, they moved him on because the timing was right, and that's what we're not ruthless in that way.
Everyone comes to an end at
Even
the club.
Ronaldo. I mean, obviously Ronaldo they got a world record fee, but they sold him.
He wanted to go to Real Madrid.
He wanted to go to Madrid, but they didn't. They didn't kind of they didn't stop the move. They sold him.
I think with Ronaldo it was a similar case to the Modric case of us, where he wanted to go and Alex said to him, "Look, give us one more year and we'll let you go." That's what it was.
But I'm saying they got the 80 million. They reinvested it. Like every time things like that happens, Alex always rebuilds.
Exactly. They don't rest on their laurels. Where if this player leaves, it's the end of us. We're talking with Harry Kane, like we talked about with Dimitar Berbatov when we got rid of him, like we talked about with Robbie Keane. All these big players that have left us. We're like, what are we gonna do when they leave? You spend that money and you reinvest it and you get someone and train them up to be better or buy someone that's better. You know what I mean? You can't be like, we've sold him. That's the end. Mm-hmm. And that's like the kind of mentality we have here.
Yeah, look at Man United when they won the double.
But we are talking about the greatest Premier League side of all time.
I know, but in 2008 they won the double. They won the Champions League and the league. And they had an amazing season. And then in that summer, they signed Berbatov for 30 million. They didn't rest on their laurels. They keep improving. And yet we finished like third, and we think, we finished third. That's good enough. Let's not sign anyone. Let's just stand still for a whole year. And that set us back so long.
Do you remember at the time of that transfer window, what the noises were coming out? I was like, who can we actually sign to improve this squad? How bullshit was that?
Absolute bullshit.
Bullshit. You got players on the bench like Nkudu and players like that, and you can't improve the squad. Mm-hmm. Do me a favor. Come on. We rested on our laurels. We didn't kick on. We stagnated. And when you stagnate in football, you're going backwards. And that's exactly what happened to us. We let ourselves rot. And this is why we're in this situation right now. Thank you very much, Daniel, Levy, and Enoch.
Yeah. Are we down?
No.
Okay. Rob Smith says Thomas Frank Brentford works on a small budget. Would you want that Brentford manager?
Not too sure. Don't know too much about him. He looks a bit too scruffy.
Yeah, maybe. I think he's doing a good job there though.
He is doing a good job. I don't know. Berbatov signed from Spurs to Monaco. He scored 4 goals that day. He was honestly underwhelmingly underrated. He was wearing the classic white boots, the Bulgarian star Berbatov. I loved Berbatov when he played for Spurs.
Yeah, I did. He was a great man, great striker. Him and Keane, that link up was unparalleled. Some of the best football I've seen. The strike partnership.
Yeah. What's your thinking behind Bielsa?
My thinking behind Bielsa?
Yeah.
Or whether I want him at Spurs? It'll be fun, but I don't know if it would be. I don't know how successful it would be.
I mean, if Bielsa had a proper defense at Spurs, if he was to be able to sign defenders and get a top defense in there, then why not?
I don't know. Mate, look, I know Bielsa has done great work. He's never really been massively successful as a manager. Would I want him? Something tells me it wouldn't pan out well. He's he's been at a few clubs. I think Lille and Marseille, and maybe another one where he literally turned up, and then within a few weeks he resigned or left.
Can you imagine him and Levy?
Yeah, I just feel like he's too much his own man. You know what I mean? He wouldn't get on with the board very well, I feel. And I just feel like it would blow up in our face if we get Bielsa. That's the feeling I get. He's too much of a maverick.
What about some more Bielsa
disciples?
Yeah. Who else is a Bielsa disciple apart from Pochettino?
Simeone.
Thing is, Simeone is a very defensive manager.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't play that kind of cavalier football that Pochettino and Bielsa play.
No, but he's very important for him, the aggression and the intensity, the way teams play and how compact they are and hard to break down, hard to beat. Yeah, the football's not always great, but he's always got very successful teams. He's been very consistent with Atletico for a long time.
Baxty B says Nuno, Simeone or Allegri for me. Allegri's the one that I can see him going for, to be honest. Obviously, got no club at the moment.
I reckon. I
but
don't think we'll go for Allegri.
I don't want Allegri.
I don't think he'll go for Allegri. I think as a manager who's he doesn't reportedly doesn't speak very good English. Another one who's quite pragmatic as well. I know he's done great stuff with Juventus and stuff, but again, the playing staff at Tottenham isn't up to the quality of someone like Juventus. So whether he can get us playing in that way is a different story. I think we need a manager who can who improves players and I think sees it as a project as opposed to someone who thinks it's ready made for him at the moment. So that's, I don't know, all these top class managers would want top class players, I feel.
Tata Martino,
former Barca manager.
He's a disciple of Bielsa. Marcelo Gallardo, River Plate manager.
What about the guy from Atalanta, Gasperini? Not Atalanta, yeah.
Gasperini, he's quite old, isn't he?
He's quite old, but he's got Atalanta playing some very good football.
True.
At the moment, really good football, and they're consistently challenging at the top end of Serie A. So for a team like Atalanta, that's pretty impressive. You got to say.
Sampaoli,
from Sevilla.
He was at Napoli at one stage.
Won Europa League last year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a disciple of Bielsa.
I don't know if all these. I don't know if they're the right fit. It doesn't feel much confidence. Like Sampaoli just feels like a manager who'll be here for a year and then he'll be gone. Like he doesn't seem like a guy who's going to stick around. I don't know. I just get that feeling.
Yeah,
he didn't do very well with
Guardiola's a disciple of Bielsa as well.
He is, but I don't know with this board. I just feel very disillusioned with the board.
Yeah, I feel disillusioned. I mean, but at the end of the day, we don't have a manager. We need to talk about our next manager. But I get your point in saying that I don't know if it even matters who our next manager is at the moment.
I think, yeah. At least Graham Potter, we can play some good football. That's all I can think of at the moment. That's why he'd be my choice. And he's English as well. Could be a potential one of the upcoming English coaches, which we could get a march on if we get him in early enough. Like that's what I'm thinking about with Potter. But I don't know who this board will go for. I don't know what their focus is at the moment. I don't know if their focus is on getting in a new manager or is it on staving off any kind of punishment from UEFA right now, because that's what we could be subject to after our participation in the Super League. I don't know what. There's so much up in the air because I don't know what the end of the season means at the moment because of the punishment we could potentially be getting.
I mean, Fabrizio did say that we were going after Nagelsmann. And if that's true, it means that they were willing to spend some money because he would have been the most expensive manager pretty much around that we were interested in. They're talking about 25 million transfer fee for him.
Yeah.
So in that sense, that it must mean that they're willing to spend a bit of money on a manager.
If they were ever really interested in Nagelsmann, I don't know.
Yeah.
We were ever going to really spend that money on him? Maybe we were, but I'm not so sure. I don't know. Did you watch Jamie Carragher last night?
No, I didn't.
Didn't watch it?
No.
Should see it.
What's it saying?
Basically explaining how shit everyone is.
I don't need to watch that to know how shit everyone is.
No, but it's good. It's just good analysis of the situation.
Talk me through it.
It's like an 8-minute analysis about that Tottenham are, at the moment, a lot of the players on the pitch are failing at the basics of football, and it's not necessarily like you can't always put everything down on the manager when players do some of the things that he was showing on the pitch that takes courage, takes bravery to do, and a lot of the players at the moment don't have the minerals to be doing that on the pitch, and like he's saying that. A manager can only do so much, and it comes down to personal responsibility at some point. And he's saying a lot of the Spurs players, especially in the game against Man City, where you are tasked, like for example, Winks had an opportunity to run into space where he's gone past one of the Man City players. He's got a lot of space in the centre to run into and be brave, but instead of being brave, he turns back and passes backwards to the defender or the goalkeeper to kind of do the safe option and not have courage on the ball. And he's saying a lot of the Spurs players. He said that's why Tottenham looked so bad, basically, playing out from the back, and he felt so sorry for the centre backs because the midfielders were just not making angles for them and not making space, and they were just hiding behind Man City players all the time instead of moving around and looking for the ball in tight situations and stuff like that. And he clearly said like Mason's tactics were not to sit back, and it was clear by what he said on the pitch how they sit up and how they try to mix things up, sometimes go long, sometimes go short from goal kicks and stuff to keep Man City guessing. And he clearly had them in a way to try and keep possession and build play through Man City, but a lot of the players on the pitch let him down in that sense.
But it's what we've been saying all season, isn't it?
Right,
and it's what Jose's been saying all season about the fundamentals.
Exactly. But everyone's been blamed Jose, and ultimately he's been sacked.
But everyone's been blaming the squad as well.
Everyone's also been blaming the squad.
I mean, no one. We've said consistently that nobody escapes blame.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. Jose Mourinho's got the task of getting these players up for it, getting these players to show a bit more belief and adventure on the pitch. It's up to the players to implement it, and it's up to the board to give the manager and the players the best tools to move forward. And they've all culpable, all of them.
Agreed.
I've got a super chat here from Hatim Al-Batashi saying Antonio Conte has 1 year remaining at Inter. What do you reckon about him? No? Why not?
He's won the league. He's winning the league. Why would he leave?
He's got 1 year left, and Inter are cash strapped. And what if he goes?
He's not going to Tottenham this summer. I can guarantee you that right now. You think Conte clashed paths with the Chelsea ownership? You think he's going to get on with Spurs ownership? No chance in hell.
It'll be nice to see.
He ain't coming. Was it nice to see Mourinho clash with the Tottenham owner? Like
anyone right now clashing with the Tottenham owner, it's nice to see because the Tottenham ownership are poison. Greg Silent saying, "Want creative Bielsa-ball, Gallardo, River Plate."
Yeah, I don't know too much about Gallardo, to be honest. It's difficult to know who's the best bet at the moment to bring in. It's hard because there's been it's just I don't know what the thinking of the board is at the moment in terms of how we're going to be moving forward, and yeah. So I don't know.
All right. Well, look, I think that is it for today. I think that is your Good Morning Tottenham, a long hour talking about the management, talking more about ENIC. Just before we go, what about Hassan Hüttl? Obviously, he had a terrible season this year, but you might have considered him before this season.
I don't know if I would have. I think he's done good for Southampton, but the way he sets up that 4-2-2-2 kind of formation. I think it can easily be worked around and worked out, and I think it's good against the smaller teams, and it can even sometimes, when you're full of energy, be good against the bigger teams. But I don't know if he'd be the right fit for us. I reckon again it'll be another manager who could get us playing for a bit, and then I think he'll go flat again. I think.
Yeah, I think you could be right there. I mean, he has lost 9-0 twice.
Yeah, and I just think
twice.
He's lost 9-0 twice, and I think. They went on a really bad run when they're losing 8 of the last 9 games and stuff in a bit of a rut. And I don't know. I think he's a good manager. I don't think he's a bad manager. I just don't think he's the right fit for us at the moment. I just don't feel it.
All right, so there you have it. That is our take on the manager situation at the moment. Not much to take away from it, to be honest, because we have no clue what direction we're going to go in. I don't even know if Levy has a clue in what direction we have to go in. But the direction that we have to go in is fans on the board, fat representation on the board, ideally ENIC out. If not ENIC out, then the representation needs to be present on the board. That is a must. But there you have it from us. We'll be back today with another episode of the Premier League's Perspective. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.